Hey, what's up guys? It's Meg here. It's gonna be mainly just me today. As you can tell by the title, this is gonna be my bump date or my 20-week update. Technically, I'm almost 21 weeks, and I just wanted to fill you guys in on everything baby and pregnancy related and how my experience is going so far. If you do not like this kind of video, feel free to click off now. It's gonna be a little bit more of a sit down girl chat. So if you don't like this kind of videos, that's fine. You won't hurt my feelings at all. Not every video will be pregnancy related. In fact, we filmed today an awesome Christmas video, so just get ready for that. I just thank you guys so much, and I think I can speak for Josh and myself when I say that we so appreciate all the love and all the support that we've gotten on our last two videos. When it comes to YouTube, you kind of like don't know how much you want to share. All the love and support and well wishes for us just makes it that much easier. Okay, so what's this app called? Baby Center. I definitely recommend it. I love checking in and seeing how far my baby has grown and what's coming up next, the symptoms. They give you checklists and suggestions, and I just find it an awesome app. It's called the Baby Center. So 20 weeks, it says that baby is the size of a banana. Okay, so it says your baby weighs about 10.5 ounces now. He's also 6.5 inches long from head to bottom and 10 inches from head to heel, about the size of a large banana. For the first 20 weeks, the baby's legs are curled up against his torso and hard to measure. Measurements are taken from the top of the head to his bottom. So some of the symptoms that I've experienced so far. Okay, so from the first week, when I first found out that I was pregnant, I had the swollen boobs, and it was especially noticeable, I wrote down, in the morning. And then I also noticed a slight darkening in my linea negra, what they call it, the line that goes from the top of your stomach or from your belly button down to your pelvic region. I found that that was darkening a little bit, almost immediately. That was it for the first week that I found out. I was a little bit sleepier than usual, I noticed, and it felt like my heart was beating a little bit harder, and I don't know if that was because I found out that I was pregnant, so obviously I was a little bit out of it, but it could be a sudden increase in blood flow maybe. I noticed also that I had a little bit of cramps at first. I don't have cramps anymore, but I think that was more so implantation, and I had a little bit of a bloat. Like I said, I was bloated. So yeah, that basically just continued. The other symptom that I had early on was that I was very thirsty, and a few weeks after that I was a little bit emotional and hungry, and it was so weird. It was like as soon as I got a plate of food after being hungry, I wanted to cry, and I didn't know why. So sometimes I would eat and cry, and I was so confused. I was like, why am I crying right now? I don't know what that was, but yes. And then the first time that I felt dizzy or lightheaded, I should say, was I was about 7 or 8 weeks pregnant when I was in Walmart, and Josh and I were shopping for some groceries or something like that. It was a short shopping trip, and all of a sudden, I guess because of the fluorescent lighting, I felt lightheaded. I felt dizzy. I felt like I needed to sit down, and the first time you feel that, it's a little bit frightening. But after that, I don't get too lightheaded too often. I know some women really struggle with that, and they feel like they're gonna faint and all that, but thank God that hasn't been a problem for me. When I hit around 9 weeks, 10 weeks, that's when I started to experience nausea, the symptom of nausea, everybody's favorite pregnancy symptom, right? I was, from 10 to about 15 weeks, I was nauseous almost every day, and I wouldn't really get nauseous in the morning. In fact, that's usually when I had the most appetite. I actually got nauseous the most in the evening, like around 4 to when I went to sleep. That's when I felt the most nauseous. And the worst experience, the worst experiences for me is going into Publix because it smells terrible in there. To me, I guess because of my increased blood flow to my nose. I don't know, I have increased senses. So every smell in Publix, it wouldn't bother me before, but now all the smells together are absolutely disgusting. And I would often go grocery shopping and then have to run outside and barf, and it was very embarrassing. There was this one time that I ran out to I was literally about to be at my car thinking everything that I got through it, and then I just couldn't hold it in anymore. I had to barf. I ran by a random tree in between cars and just barfed my brains out and tried to cover it up with wood chips, and a random lady saw me and was like, "Are you okay?" And like, besides being very embarrassed, I'm okay. And I let her know, I'm like, "Hey, I'm pregnant, don't think that I'm just drunk or hungover or something." She's like, "Oh, I feel so bad," and she like gave me a napkin, and she was very sweet about it. And I'll spare you the details, but there's been a few moments like that. So like I said, from about 9 weeks to about 15, 16 weeks, I was nauseous almost every evening. And but I only threw up, I would say, out of all those times, maybe two handfuls of times. So I know that some women get it so much worse than I do, so honestly I thank God for it. It could have been a lot worse. Other symptoms that I've been having, if we fast forward, the most noticeable symptoms since the nausea has worn off is that I get hunger. Hunger is one, and my feet hurt a lot quicker than usual. If I walk around for maybe a couple of hours, that would never bother me before, but now my feet start to hurt and they start to swell a little bit irritable. Josh can probably let you know that I'm very irritable sometimes. I do have like sort of tired spells, weird pregnancy symptom. My belly button hurts like out of nowhere. A few times it just feels like it, because it's getting pushed out, my uterus is expanding, my belly button is like stinging and hurting at random points, and I had to tell my midwife about it, and she's like, "I hope it's not a hernia, but it might be just part of your growing, expanding uterus." So my boobs, they are a little bit fuller, which I'm actually enjoying. I think that I am a bit, because it is my first pregnancy, I think I carry a little bit smaller than some women, and I definitely have bump envy. At least I did at first when I saw my other friends who were pregnant and they had these big huge bumps, and I'm like, "Oh, where's my bump?" And now I'm like, all right, it's coming, and I definitely see it. But you tend to want to compare yourself to other women, and you tend to think, "Oh, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have that? Is everything okay?" And you worry a lot. But every appointment that I've been to, my midwife and the doctors and the sonographers have assured me that everything is looking normal and there's nothing to worry about. So thankful for that, and just remember not to compare yourself to other women just because you don't look quite like them. Everybody's pregnancy is different. So cravings that I've had, I would crave seaweed and soy sauce, and that sounds really weird. And when you're pregnant, you can't really have a ton of raw fish. They don't recommend it, but I did get the rice and avocado by itself with just the seaweed, and that is absolutely delicious to me. Don't know why, that's what I craved. That's all that I craved. I was very specific because when you're nauseous and you're hungry at the same time, it's very confusing and very upsetting, and I stuck with that because a lot of things made me feel like barfing, especially chicken. I had a huge chicken aversion. There was no chicken for me for about 4 or 5 weeks, from 8 to 15 weeks, so maybe a little bit more than 5 weeks, like 7 weeks. I was not into chicken. Thank God that has subsided. When my nausea subsided, I'm starting to get back into chicken again, and I go to Chick-fil-A all the time. Went to Chick-fil-A today. but that's pretty much the only fast food that I eat. I try to make as much food as I can here. But the second, what's the second craving? Mandarin oranges. This was one of my first cravings and it has continued on throughout the pregnancy. I love the sourness of mandarin oranges and I peel them and I could eat them all day, and thankfully it is sort of a healthier option than having candy or something like that. So my other craving has been pasta, but I could just eat, sometimes I would just have pasta and sauce and it was the only thing that I could eat that day. Ice cream with my favorite one has been salted caramel Haagen-Dazs with the almonds in it. What else have I been craving, Joshy?
This first trimester is fruity pebbles.
Honestly, I'm very blessed. I try to do yoga once a week. That is pretty much it. I think that is my pregnancy so far. So I have on a dress, so I'm not gonna pull it up. I'm just gonna show you what I've got going on so far. Josh and I have really been embracing this experience. He goes with me to every appointment, and thank God that I have a guy who can take off of work and really show interest in the baby and see how much the baby has grown since the beginning. The baby has, you know, full-on legs and toes, and he or she just looks beautiful. So it's just looking at what a miracle it is has been so refreshing and eye-opening, and we're so grateful for that. And I don't know how I could forget talking about the baby moving. So the baby moving is actually semi-recent. It's been from about 17 weeks till now. We've been able to feel little flutters. At first it was very slight, and now you can actually see the baby kicking through my skin if you look up close, and it was the most amazing experience ever when I felt the baby kicking and I finally got Josh to, because sometimes the baby's kicking and then dad comes over and feels the belly and he can't feel anything, but this time he was able to feel that first kick, and we looked at each other, we almost cried because it was just an awesome experience for him to finally get to feel this living being inside of you. And every time I feel the baby kick, I still get so excited, and it's just the most amazing time in my life. So I'm so glad to get to share this with you guys. Like I said, if this isn't your cup of tea, we'll be back with more exciting videos. The gender reveal is coming up soon. Christmas videos are coming up. We love you guys. We thank you so much for your support, and comment below if you want to see me continue to do bump dates and things like that. Thank you so much for watching.